Looks like those rapscallions behind the Intellivision Amico have scored yet another big bag of money. You won't believe from who. Let's talk about it on It's All Dug in Games. I can't believe the news that just broke this morning. That's right, Atari has purchased Intellivision. Well, it's not that cut and dry. There's a lot of details, but let's dive right in. I'll spare you some of the self-filleting description that Atari has given of both itself and the Intellivision library to just let you know that they are, in fact, buying the rights to the Intellivision name, approximately 200 Intellivision games that haven't yet been sold off by those scoundrels in Amico who were, up until today, the owners of said IP. And to be very clear right from jump, Atari will not be taking on ownership or responsibility for aforementioned Amico project, which has gone on now for several years, leaving a trail of broken promises, disgruntled investors, and a very, very impacted Pat the NES punk. I mean, come on, just virtual hugs, man. We're going to get through this together. Continuing on very quickly here through the press release. Again, the objective that Atari seems to have for this acquisition is to seek to expand digital and physical distribution of legacy Intellivision games, potentially creating new games, and explore brand and licensing opportunities as part of a long-term plan to create value from the Intellivision properties. In fact, clearly they've been going back and forth on this, and right there with that press release, they've dropped a line of Intellivision branded logo t-shirts on the Atari shop. So there you go. Now, the big question I have here is how much did Atari pay Intellivision, or what I'll call the Amico people? Because part of that agreement is that the Intellivision Entertainment LLC, which again was the LLC, controlled by, we'll call it the Amico folks, will have to rebrand, presumably meaning they'll have to rename their company something like maybe just Entertainment LLC. Or Amico Entertainment LLC, something that clearly won't have the word Intellivision in it. And of course, that means their stated desire to continue to move the ill-fated Amico console system, entertainment device, set-top, whatever you want to call it, forward, will obviously also have to be called maybe just the Amico, but clearly not the Intellivision Amico. Atari, as part of this deal, according to the press release, have licensed back to, we'll call them the Amico company now, the rights to have Intellivision game reboots and remakes on their Amico. I suppose Atari really felt that, why not? Because I'm sure they probably realized it's highly unlikely they're going to take advantage of that license. So I suppose it didn't hurt to offer that as part of the terms of said deal. Now, again, I'm so deeply conflicted here on this news because there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, from Atari's perspective, I guess from a nostalgia standpoint, they might find it to be a cool idea to be the curator of the Intellivision properties, at least the ones that were available for sale, inclusive, of course, of the name itself, and again, a large chunk of the Intellivision games. But at the end of the day, what would be their expectations for monetizing Intellivision? I don't think I'm being too far removed from reality or being too mean-spirited when just calling it like I see it. Arguably, the Intellivision console is the least desirable in 2024 collectible retro system that exists. I can only think of the Magnavox Odyssey 2 as possibly being less sought after than Intellivision. Folks, if you go to any yard sale or estate sale that advertises all sorts of video games and you get there like 20 minutes after it starts and 100 different resellers have already picked it clean, you're going to have two things left on the tables. You're going to have Skylanders games and Intellivision. So I don't know who it is that they think is going to be crawling out of the woodwork en masse in quantities enough to justify re-releasing Intellivision games to the public. And also, I wonder to myself if they understand the difference between Atari and Intellivision in terms of properties that can be revived and have new life breathed in them. For example, Atari has so many iconic first-party games that they've been able to riff off of and create new properties off of. Yar's Revenge comes to mind. The classic Atari adventure, to wit. Space Invaders, Asteroids. I mean, the list goes on and on of fantastic Atari games that even people that are younger would recognize and remember, that their parents told them about, that the general public would actually remember and understand. If you took 100 random people, lined them up, and asked them to name an iconic Intellivision game, I'd be very curious to see if anyone had an answer to that. The fact is, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just calling it like I see it. I don't think I can think of a single iconic Intellivision title, a first-party Intellivision-specific title that would be considered in the annals of history an important milestone in gaming, or something that the casual gamer would recognize. So what exactly are they planning to remake? Intellivision Boxing? Perhaps the Intellivision Blackjack game? Space Armada? I don't know what the plan here is. Besides, maybe they're going to just put Intellivision shirts in every hot topic in every mall left in America? Try to create some buzz as some sort of hipster counterculture underground movement? Again, it all hangs off of how much money they paid. But if they paid any kind of significant amount of money, good luck trying to recoup that. Again, I'm conflicted because I do like the idea of the same company that owns the lion share of the Atari IP having the Intellivision IP. So if things do in fact not work out, someone could come forward perhaps and buy both libraries at the same time. So I think that's the one good thing I see about this. And my message to the folks behind the Amico, we'll call them the Amico Company because we don't know what their final name or their rebranded name will be. This is your one last chance for redemption. I don't think you've got anything left to sell in a virtual flea market of stuff. This is it, guys. This is it. If you want a redemption story, if you don't want to be rapscallions anymore, you got to get it done. Make it happen one way or the other. We're all going to be watching you. Trust me, we're all going to be watching you. Well, folks, I'd like to thank you for watching me talk about this subject. Let me know in the comments below where you land. Have you bought yourself a nifty brand new Intellivision t-shirt? Folks, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on It's All Dug in Games.